The disease of addiction is manifestations of the way that I think, the way that I behave, the way that I act. It's many different things.
Its goal is to kill us. And I've learned that through watching my friends die, my family die. Once I start, I can't stop, and I have a disease that's incurable, fatal, and progressive.
I didn't have a future. I lost everything. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a place to live.
Lost my house. I had lost my job, my savings, my kid. I didn't have any real friends. I couldn't trust anybody anymore.
I was completely just hopeless, scared, no self-worth. I mean, I was beaten.
I didn't have a future when I was actively using. I didn't plan anything further than my next high.
I would use so that I could avoid the feelings of inferiority. I would avoid the feelings of feeling less than, essentially. And when I was using drugs, I didn't have those feelings. The only thing I really cared about was using at that point, not what other people thought of me, not what I thought of myself.
I was probably 23. I was on my way to prison, and I remember sitting in a little cell thinking, why is my life like this? You know, why do I keep ending up in the same place? And the one thing that always came back was, I can't stop using drugs. It was in that same moment that I realized that if I could put the drugs down, my life could change. And if I could just be given that chance and that opportunity, I could change my life. And I didn't know what that chance was going to look like, if I was going to get it, what I needed to do. I just knew that if I could do something different, I would.
The difference between being sober and being in recovery is actively working on yourself. Being sober just means you're abstaining from drugs or alcohol. I went to the county and looked for help, and they weren't able to help me. They advised that I go in through a hospital and seek help there, and from there I was able to get into a treatment program followed by a halfway house. And then following that, I started attending meetings regularly and have been part of a fellowship for 2 years.
Fellowship means to me the therapeutic value of one addict helping another. It was told to me once that no matter how large my eyes are, I can never see my whole ear, which means that no matter how hard I try to see my whole self, I can't. And that's what other addicts in recovery are for, to point out and keep me accountable to the things that I need to work on.
For me, the start of my recovery was just communicating and expressing. And when I would get crazy thoughts in my head, just to get them out of my head, out of my mouth, just learning how to connect with other people like me, other addicts like me.
So I go to 2 to 3 12-step meetings a week. I stay in touch with people from the fellowship. I do step work, which is advised in the 12-step programs. I have a sponsor, and I just really stay connected through events that are recovery-based.
I've been able to accumulate some tools. I read, I write, I connect with other people. I make sure I'm staying honest. If I have an urge to use something outside of myself to fix a feeling or fix a thought, I make sure that I'm bringing that thought out of my head and saying it out loud. I connect with a higher power. I use prayer and meditation regularly to figure out what that higher power's will for me is and what that higher power's will for me is not. I have friends that I connect with regularly that are a part of the 12-step fellowship that I'm a part of. It would take a whole lot for me to leave the fellowship at this point because I'm so interconnected.
It is important to have a recovery network because I know that when I disconnect from my recovery network, and I think that I don't need them anymore, or that I can do these things on my own, I kind of start to feel a little unruly and a little bit uncomfortable, and I get these crazy thoughts, and in my thoughts, if I don't communicate the things that I'm thinking, oftentimes it's not a good choice. It's not a good thought. And so before I know it, I'm acting out on, bad decisions. And with a recovery network, if I'm facing something, I can bounce it off of some of the people that I know in recovery and say, hey, what does this sound like to you? Have you been through this? Or, what would you do? And get an answer that I can 9 out of 10 times relate to.
I've realized now that I have the freedom of personal choice. I don't need to run away from my problems using a substance. If I have a problem, I can reach out to my support network. There's always people there to support you. There's always somebody that's been through something like you've been through. My solutions now are different than drugs and alcohol. My solution now is using my recovery network.
Today, I love myself. I can look myself in the mirror today and not be ashamed. Today I have a job. Today I have a home. I have a husband. I have a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a granddaughter. I have friends. Today I am a person with a purpose, and I wasn't before.
My future can be anything I want it to be as long as I'm not using.
The future now looks a lot brighter. I feel like now when I wake up, I wake up clean and sober, and anything's possible. I'm going to school to be a drug and alcohol counselor. I never thought that was in the cards for me. I thought when an active addiction that this was it. This is what I'm going to do until I die. So now I'm a mom and a student and an employee and a daughter and a coworker. It looks good.
I just got married. I have a great job. I would like for my future to continue to just build my family and stay in the career path that I've chosen, buy a house, and just stay simple.